So welcome to episode 9 of Generation 2 of the Perfect Genetics Challenge. And our founder Olivia and her husband Don are having breakfast at home in Moonlight Falls. Their only daughter Cindy inherited her mother's hair and eye colour, and she became the heir for Generation 2. And now Cindy is living here with her husband Bill and their 4 children. One of their daughters has inherited the required hair and eye colour, and she will be the sim to begin the next generation. Donna is only a child at the moment. She's got a lot of growing to do. After breakfast, Olivia got changed. She had a desire to do some inventing. She wanted to improve her inventing skills. So I sent her down to the room where they celebrate their birthdays, because that's where the inventing table is. And she's set to work. And we'll leave her there while we get on with the rest of the day's activities. The children and teens had all gone off to school earlier in the day, and I decided to go and check on them. And I found some of them were sitting out the front of the school, skipping school of all things. I'm trying to get their grades up to grade A so they can move out of the house, which they can't do until they've aged up to young adult. So I told them all to get inside and go to school and do their homework and everything. And they did. And that's Wilhelmina Wolf in her werewolf form. I included her because she plays such a huge part in Oscar's childhood. It's from my Oscar's childhood series of videos. That night after work, Cindy in the shorts was home from work, and she was having a chat with one of the visiting townies. I've only seen that family in this game. I haven't seen them in the world before, and I'm thinking they maybe were homeless Sims that found a home. Eunice Summers, I think is their last name, of her household come and visit, as do most of the rest of the townies from Moonlight Falls. I did move about half of them to Mountain Lake. The child riding on that spring rider in the background is Paul Ayahod. He is an imaginary friend made real of Max. And Max is the alien son of Don, Olivia's husband. You've met Don at the beginning, having breakfast. And Don had a lot of alien children until I turned off the ability of aliens to abduct my Sims. But there are some still living in this world, so we do see them occasionally. Don's eldest alien son, Martin, and his imaginary friend made real, Bart, will be having their birthdays in this episode and aging up to young adult. And they will move to Vice City because Mountain Lake is now very full of Sims and we can't fit any more in. And I will be moving the rest of the children and teens from this household when they age up to young adult. They'll all go to Vice City. I'm just hoping the game doesn't fill the world with Sims that I don't want there. I want just my Sims there. I usually don't pay much attention to opportunities, but since I'm trying to get these children to 8th grade at school as fast as possible, anything that will improve their school grades, I am encouraging them to complete. And here is little Max reporting in to school. And that's one of the Goodfellow children waiting outside there. His parents are usually in the backyard of the home lot. But I think that little chap was stuck and I reset him. It was getting late and I was hoping little Max wouldn't get arrested on his way home, but he made it safely. And it was bedtime. There's Paul, Max's imaginary friend made real. He's getting ready for bed, had a check under the bed for monsters. And there is Cindy's eldest daughter Denise, just getting into her bed, and she's going to sleep soundly for the night. Carl thinks he's going to escape and just play whack-a-gnome all night, but he's got to go to bed too. He is Bill's alien son. Bill just aged up from teen to young adult and got abducted immediately and became pregnant and had a son. And then Don had a couple more alien children. So that was it. I just cancelled alien abductions for the household. I used an ANRAS mod to do it. I've forgotten which one now. The noise of the whack-a-gnome game woke Debbie up, so she came out to see what was going on. Her bedroom is very close to where this machine is. I think she was enjoying watching her half-brother. She is one of Cindy and Bill's daughters, and he is Bill's alien son. So I think the game would consider them to be half-brother and half-sister. Debbie's just aged up from toddler. Carl is working on getting an A grade at school so he can become a teen. He's been a child for a while, but he's got to make his imaginary friend real first, and the imaginary friend will have to get up to A grade at school as well before they can have their birthdays. While that game of whack-a-gnome's been going on, Max has arrived home from school and has decided that he wants to complete one of his wishes to make a rather stinky potion. He's already made his imaginary friend real, so he doesn't need to make the imaginary friend metamorphism potion. But there are still a few potions that he hasn't learned, and he might as well discover them all while he's got the chance. Carl decided he wanted to satisfy his wish to learn the painting skill, so he went out to the easel that's out in the backyard and started painting. And of course, as soon as he touched it, he got to level 3 in painting because he'd read all of his toddler books and did all of his toddler skills before he aged up. Next afternoon after school, it was time for Martin, Don's eldest alien son, and his imaginary friend Bart to age up to young adult, and then they'll be moving to Vice City. Carl wasn't going to miss out on helping him celebrate, and soon Max's imaginary friend Paul and Denise turned up, and here's Mary. She is another one of Don's alien children. She's a teen. She'll be the one to age up next to young adult after Martin has moved out, but she's still got to work on her school grades. She's not going to be a teen for very long. That's Cindy standing there in her sleepwear. Oh, and there's Bart coming to help his previous owner celebrate their aging up, or his aging up to young adult. The other cake in the background will be for Bart. And there goes Martin, the candles are blown out, and of course Martin will get his own choice of new trait. And he got adventurous. I think he needs to go into stylist, get himself some new outfits. There's Don, his first alien child has now become a young adult. All of the children that he had with Olivia have become young adults as well. And here's Debbie in the yellow. She is the youngest of Cindy and Bill's children. It's her twin who is the heir. We haven't seen the little heir yet. That is Daryl. Daryl is Denise's twin brother, the first twins that Cindy and Bill had. They've had 2 sets of twins. And there's Barbara. She is Mary's imaginary friend made real. Cindy and Bill's first set of twins were Denise and Daryl, a boy and a girl. And then she had Debbie and Donna, and that is little Donna just walked in. She is a little heir for Generation 3. Looks like Martin is going to finish enjoying his cake before he gets his makeover in stylist. And here's Bart. He's going to enjoy his cake too. Actually, everybody's going to enjoy Martin's cake if they don't miss out on a piece. Looks like Martin's been well trained. He's going to get up and wash the dishes, keep the room nice and tidy for Bart's birthday. And as soon as the dishes are washed, Martin's going into stylist. And when we see him next, he'll be in his new outfit. And there's Martin in his new everyday outfit. And that's the little group of Sims that missed out on cake. But they're still being hopeful. There's another birthday party about to happen. I'm sure they'll get some from Bart's party. Now, Bart's blowing out of the candles was a bit more chaotic than usual. He didn't get an inferno cake, but he did get a lot of Sims blocking me from showing you what happened. There go the candles being blown out. Little Debbie, she's got such a green skin. She inherited it from her mother, Cindy, and Cindy inherited it from her father, Don. So we do get to see him transforming into a young adult. I thought I'd missed that bit, but there he is, and now he's getting his new trait, young Bart, the newest young adult in the household. I thought the handy trait might be good for him, come in useful as he lives on his own in his new home in Vice City. Now it's time for Bart's cake to be eaten, and then Don will escort Martin and Bart to Vice City. This Vice City world was based on Grand Theft Auto and was built by Fresh Prince. I think it's a bit like Miami in Florida. And as far as I can tell, it was probably never finished because the version I've got has got no Sims in it, which is exactly what I want. I want an empty world. There's lots of buildings, and most of the community lots are vacant or just got shells in them. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to personalise it. I'm just hoping that the game doesn't put a whole lot of new Sims in there, because I want to fill it up with Sims from this household as the generations grow. And I might need to move a few Sims to Vice City from Mountain Lake, because I've now got too many Sims living in Mountain Lake. Everybody seems to be enjoying their cake, and there's our new imaginary friend made real, little Paul, Ayahod, Max's imaginary friend made real. I hope we've got time in this episode to make some more imaginary friends real. We'll see what happens. We're going to have a good look around Vice City before Don comes home, and I won't show you the whole process, but I did spend quite a while in Vice City because the houses needed a thorough overhaul, with upgrading all the appliances and adding extra furniture and storage containers and cupboards and things. And there's also a sim living there that I placed there when I put the world into the game. And she is a sim that I've hardly ever played. She was made originally to test the skins when I very first started putting skins into my game. And I made a whole bunch of sims with all different skins on them, and most of those sims I'm just gradually filtering them into games now, even though I made them at 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 years ago now. So we'll get to meet one of my new old sims that hasn't been played, or hasn't been played very much. I doubt that you will recognise her. So Olivia, Barbara and Martin are remaining hopeful. They obviously missed out on cake. Don was heading off to work, but I told him to take some days off without pay. He needs to go to Vice City now with Martin and Bart. And here's a little bit of trivia. You know that regular Sims have got one form, it is the Sim form, unless they're a bot fan, and then they can go and turn into the bot form. And imaginary friends made real can turn into their doll form. Well, the little imaginary friend turned real that we've got in this household at the moment, young Paul Ayahod, he is a bot fan, so he can turn into his imaginary friend doll form and into bot form. And at the moment he's got a wish to turn into his bot form. I didn't realise that he had the bot fan trait because he got it automatically when he became real, and I didn't take any notice of his traits back then, so it was a bit of a surprise to me. So I'll have him in his bot form for a while occasionally, just for fun. So Don, Martin and Bart are now all set to start travelling to Vice City. We'll catch up with them when they arrive at the base camp in Vice City. It's an apartment block that I found, and I just converted it to a base camp. It's something that comes with Vice City when you download it. And here they are outside the base camp. It's a building that I turned into a base camp. It's just an ordinary building when you download the world. Having a base camp makes it a lot easier when your Sims first arrive in a new world, because if you don't have a base camp, you've got to choose somewhere that they're going to stay while they're there. And if there's no empty houses or lots, well then you've just got to go back home. It's really hard to get into the world because you can't pick a house that's occupied. And I always make sure my base camps have a computer so I can use the traveller mod to turn their trip into not a vacation. It's vacation true or vacation false. And once they arrived, I make sure the vacation is false. That way they are not going to be sent back home, and they can do lots of things that they couldn't do if they were there just on vacation. And Martin and Bart are going to stay here. This is going to be their home world from now on. I think most of the buildings in this world are either partially furnished or totally unfurnished, so you've got heaps of scope to personalise it if you choose to play in the world. Now that I've set their vacation to false, the next thing I need to do is find Carolyn Price. She is the sim that I placed here months ago, and there she is. She's out and about. I used the computer in the end to focus on her, and there she was. There's not too many Sims in the world to search for. She's the only one, apart from the travelling party of 3. Now that's her house with the dark red roof towards the right, and I'm going to put Martin and Bart Bart in the 2 houses to the left of her place. That way they will get to know each other, being the only 3 Sims in the world. We're looking into Bart's house at the moment after I gave his house a makeover. Lots of new upgraded furniture and some decor that he will need. It was very basic when he moved into it. That's his prom photo on the dresser. It's set up like it could be used as an apartment because there's another big room under the house, but it's only got a bed in it at the moment. I left that room alone. I might come back and play with Bart at some point and he might end up with a family. That's the big room downstairs and his carport. I bought him a car, put a little bit of decor there near the car. If he decides to get married and have a family, I'll do something with this room down here. Can't decide what to do with it at the moment. I did manage to put some paint on the walls of this room as well. I thought it was an interesting house, so I kept it. I haven't seen any Sims houses built quite like this one before. Anyway, now you've got an idea of what Bart's place looks like. And he is living next door to Martin. Martin's got the middle house of the 3. And this is Martin's house. I gave him a full makeover as well. I gave him top quality or middle to top quality appliances and a better bed, and I added storage for all of his things that he had in his inventory. Gave him a computer and a computer desk. So his place is more like a usual type of Sims house, I think. I probably won't need to do a lot more to it if he does decide to get married and have a family and live in this house. Now I'll just have a quick look at the outside of the 2 houses I've just done up, and now the next one is Carolyn's house, and I'm going to go and give her a makeover as well because I didn't do that for her when I put her in here. I just plonked her into the house and I've had a look. She doesn't even have a sink, so that's it. Carolyn's going to get her place done up. And here it is. This is Carolyn's home after I have given her a sink plus upgraded appliances and beds, and she's got a computer now as well. Inventory's empty, but I gave her storage capacity anyway because if I ever play her, she'll need it. She's got no skills at all at the moment, but again, if I play her, she'll get some skills. And so we're just having a good look. Wasn't really room for the computer to go anywhere else, so I've ended up putting it in her bedroom, but she's living there by herself, so that won't matter. I wonder where she's going. It's obviously out somewhere. Let's go follow her and find out what happens next. I wonder what gave her that idea. She's on her own inside a building protesting the fire brigade by the look of it, because forever she's been the only Sim in this world, so she's got nobody there to help her protest. I like her hairstyle because I wore my hair like that occasionally at school, mid-teens. Hello, Bart's turned up. He's doubled the size of the protest just by showing up. Alone. There's 2 of them now, waving their placards, protesting the fire service. I might leave them to it and go find Don. Let's get out of this world before the game starts adding extra Sims that I don't want in the world. There's Don having a fishing expedition on the beach. You can see the city behind him. I think it's an impressive looking world. Most of those buildings are empty. I don't think it'd be a good idea to fill them all up with Sims. You'd soon crash the world. When I arrived in this world, I had my graphics turned right down, but since it was an empty world, I could afford to put them back up again so we could have a nice little look around and see it with good graphics. I'm thinking if I was playing in this world for a long time, I'd probably get some of the rabbit holes from Into the Future and add into it, because we're going to have most of the young Sims from the house back in Moonlight Falls will end up here, and that little Paul who was a bot fan, it'd be fun to get him into one of those careers. Anyway, let's go back and grab Don and head back to Moonlight Falls. We've had a quick look around. You've got a good idea of what's in the world now. Poor Don, he wasn't too happy about me telling him to stop fishing. Did a little tiny protest, but then he did what he was told and dialed up the travel agent and headed home alone. When Don arrived home, he discovered that his daughter Cindy had, for some strange and unknown reason, decided to get interested in gardening. And she was there in his garden, because he was the one that started it. She was there in his garden, taking care of it, harvesting his cheese, of all things. There's also some townie in there playing in his sprinkler. This garden's been left, and I just realised there's a lot of death flower plants there, and I don't have any Sims with the green thumb to be able to bring them back to life. Have to do something about that. And it was night time, and the children were all supposed to be in bed, and they weren't. There is little Denise chasing after that imaginary friend doll that hasn't been made real yet, but has decided to take on his human form anyway. And there's the imaginary friend that has been made real, little Paul. At least he's got his thoughts of going to bed. He's probably trying to find some townie to read him a bedtime story. But of course they can't, because they're all locked out of the house. There's children everywhere. Somebody's got to take control of this situation. Bedtime, kids. Here we are. They're all getting into their beds. As you can see, there's a lot of bedrooms in this house, and some of the beds are empty. And some of the reasons for them being empty is because Sims have moved to other worlds, and occasionally it's because a Sim hasn't been doing what they've been told to do and they haven't gone to bed yet. But these ones over this side of the house are empty because we've moved their previous occupants to other worlds. Oh, and poor Bill, he's got the duty to try to fix that broken sink, but I don't think he's going to succeed. It's permanently broken, needs replacing. And there's some more bedrooms downstairs as well. There's the nursery and the extra bedrooms. See, I added these bedrooms on first when Olivia and Don's eldest children aged up from toddler to child. But they've all gone now, and some of the other children are sleeping in the beds that they've left empty. It's a long time since all those cots were full. The next time will be when little Debbie has her babies, and she's only just become a child. She aged up from toddler in the previous episode to this. The next day, Carl set his imaginary friend Pat onto the floor and asked it to become live. And to his surprise, and everybody else's surprise too, that imaginary friend that has not been made real yet, that Denise had been chasing around the yard the previous evening, turned out to be Carl's imaginary friend Pat, playing up and pretending to be a real Sim when he wasn't. So now Pat and Carl have to have a long chat about that, and hopefully they'll mend their differences, and Carl will be able to have his wish come true to turn his imaginary friend real. And then Pat will go in to create a Sim or stylist or something and get a makeover. We'll see what happens. They seem to be getting along quite well. They must be good friends by now, but they've got to be best friends before the potion can be offered and accepted. He's got the potion and he's drinking it. Oh, they must be best friends. There he is. He just did a little spin, and the only thing that changed was he lost the little light from the top of his head. He was already in his Sim form. Now we've just got to take him into Create a Sim and give him a makeover. We don't want him to look so generic. Then he'll go into Stylist and get new clothes, because in Stylist he can have 2 everyday outfits, and I like to keep the imaginary friend outfit as their second everyday outfit. There he is. Pat's now had his makeover. I've got to let him keep his imaginary friend name. He's still called Pat, and at least now everybody can see him. I think they could all see him before as well, because he joined the household as a little imaginary friend in doll form with a light over his head, and now he's an imaginary friend made real. One thing I noticed is that when he became real, the doll vanished. It had been sitting on the floor. Sometimes that doesn't happen. I've had it where the dolls just stayed there. I was glad that it vanished, because it no longer had a Sim in it. It was the weekend and there was no school, so everybody headed off to the spring festival. And Cindy collected a few festival eggs, and she got another fancy egg, which she took home and added to the collection on the shelves in the wall upstairs, just outside Don and Olivia's bedroom. And there's wildflowers to pick, and there's a dance floor over there too, so they can dance at the spring festival. And the townies were collecting festival eggs too, so Cindy didn't always get the egg she was trying to pick up, which was a bit of a problem. She missed that one, she just wasn't there on time. She missed a few more as well, for the same reason. But there were still more eggs to be found, and lots of other things to do at the festival. The children were enjoying the clubhouse. There's an egg right in the middle of the footpath. Wonder if she'll get that one. And there's an egg here, but it's off the lot. And if she picks it up, the game will have a little hissy fit and she'll be thrown off the lot. Back home, she'll be reset, in other words. Then I'll have to get it back here again. Should have told her to leave it alone, I think. Let's watch what happens. That townie beat her to the egg that was on the path, and here she comes. She's going to pick up the egg that's not on the lot, that problem position for an egg. She shouldn't touch it. She got it, and there she goes. Meanwhile, other members of her household, including her husband Bill, were enjoying themselves dancing at the festival. Cindy will be back shortly and she'll be dancing there too. There she is. She came back from home where she'd been tossed off to as a punishment for picking up an egg that was not on the lot. At least she got one egg that was a fancy egg to add to their fancy egg collection. She's doing the smussle dance. Her antics seemed to have surprised Bill somewhat, and he stopped doing his dance to watch her. That's their little son there, Daryl, and Barbara. Barbara, of course, is the imaginary friend made real of Don's alien daughter, Mary. I didn't see the notification when the things were delivered, but later on I was clearing out Don's inventory and I discovered plaques to hang on the wall for the king and queen of the festival. So I'm assuming they might belong to Cindy and Bill, but they could belong to anyone. I stuck them on the wall. You'll see them in the next video, I think. So Bill's wandered off to go and have a chat with Gator Wolf. And there's their little daughter, Denise, playing horseshoes. There's all sorts of things at this festival. She is the eldest of Cindy and Bill's children. She managed to get the hair colour right to be heir, but she didn't get her mother's eye colour, so she didn't get to become the heir. She's got a younger sister who is the heir. Cindy and Bill had two sets of twins. The first two were born in Mountain Lake when they went visiting, and the second two were born here in Moonlight Falls. Or there's the raccoon. I like to get the raccoon in my videos because a long time ago there was a time when I had never seen the raccoon in my game and I was convinced I didn't have one. So now whenever I see the raccoon, I go and look for it and chase it and see what it's up to. It turns out this raccoon just wanted to go over and have a chat with that paparazzi who was standing there watching. About this time, Barbara decided she'd had enough of dancing and she decided to do something a bit different, something she hadn't done before. Picking wildflowers and giving them a big sniff, hoping she wouldn't get allergic reaction to them. And I think she's got the sim immunity, a lifetime reward, so she's safe. She can sniff as many wildflowers as she likes. Cindy and Bill are still doing the smussle dance. And some of the children are playing in that clubhouse. There's Paul going across to it. The household members are well spread out around the festival grounds. They're definitely enjoying themselves. Little Denise is having a chat with Gator Wolf now, and the raccoon's chatting with Mary. She's going to age up to young adult next, her and Barbara, but it'll be a little while before that happens. That's the new imaginary friend made real, little Pat. He's going to get up into that clubhouse and have some fun. All of these children haven't got their child skills yet. Some of them have done their cooking. So in the next episode we'll see them finishing off their cooking and also doing some block work. We've got to have them completing their child skills because that's the point of having them become real while their owners are still children. Back on the home lot, Sonny is painting, but he's placed his imaginary friend doll on the ground beside him, and that doll has decided it's time to become live. So Sonny's going to have to stop painting and spend some time chatting with his imaginary friend so that he can give it the potion he's carrying in his pocket. I'm not sure if he'll have time for that. But to have to become best friends before he can give the potion to Lucky. In the next episode, there will be another imaginary friend made real early in the episode, and we'll see them all getting to know each other and learning their skills. The children have got quite a lot of skills to learn, not just cooking and blocks. They'll go fishing and doing all sorts of things. I'll be working hard to get Barbara and Mary ready to age up to young adult, and there will probably be a birthday for Max and his imaginary friend, Paul. They are both at level A at school now. Paul just needs to do his block skill. This pair are best friends now, and the potion's been handed over, and Lucky just drank it, and now he's turning real. And the next thing we'll have to do very quickly is give him a full makeover. And now there he is, named Lance, and he's had his makeover. Another redhead. I'm not sure if he's got freckles. We'll have to see in the next episode. This is the end of this video. Thank you for watching. And thank you for subscribing if you have already subscribed. And those who haven't subscribed yet, well, it would be a good idea if you don't want to miss my next video. I do hope you continue to enjoy the channel. So, bye-bye for now. Thank you for watching and happy simming.